Have you heard of the new addition to the Go for Donnie podcast? I haven't either, but it's called Switch to Channel 2. That is where Donnie will get to ask his guests some questions, so you, the listener, get to know them better. And remember, hashtag HTFU.
Hey guys, welcome to Switch to Channel 2. Tim, this is Tim Healy. Tim, Switch to Channel 2 came about because whenever we're on set and you have a little chatter, you reach back and you switch to Channel 2 and you can have a little talk, and then everyone else listens in and you switch back to your channel. So that's what this podcast is about. Just a little bit of chatter, get to know you a little better.
Yeah, cool, man.
I appreciate your time once again. You already talked about how you got into the industry. Can you tell me, like, why you got into the industry, basically? I mean, because I think back, because I got into it late in the game, very late in the game, and I really wish I would have got into it at a younger age. But clearly you got into it when you're in your early 20s, right?
Yeah, I fell into it. I was in college. I was an English major. I was a communications minor. My college, the university I went to, they didn't have studio production. It was communication theory. I had no idea what I wanted to do with my career. The economy was really good at the time. There was jobs everywhere. My parents had just spent a ton of money sending me to college, and I literally was aimless. I was an English major. I knew I didn't want to be an attorney. I knew I didn't want to be a teacher, and I knew I didn't want to go to graduate school. And it was, what am I going to do? I almost actually took the New York City firefighters exam.
Wow.
Because I wanted to just buy a little time, because my parents were going to say, okay, you got the diploma, like, what's next? And I was going to be like, you know what, I'm figuring that out. But in the meantime, I'm going to take this test. Long story short, my junior year, I applied for an internship at MTV. I figured maybe TV. I have no idea. They have an internship program. Let me apply. I was not allowed to accept the internship position because I was a communications minor, not a major.
What?
So I wasn't able to get the internship. But it worked out for the better, because that was the year they did the first MTV Beach House. I was from Eastern Long Island. The Beach House was in Eastern Long Island.
Oh.
So they said, you know what, this summer, you got a driver's license. Interns don't get paid. It'll be a paid position. And your summer job will be working for us. And when I was on set, when I wasn't driving the van, I was on set and I was watching them production and going into the edit rooms. And then I slowly started to hang out more and more. And I kind of became the guy on set that didn't have an official position, but I always offered to carry equipment. I was always asking questions. I was always offering to write cue cards. And I was real fortunate. I said, this is, I like doing this. This is fun. This is exciting. Now, granted, I was graduating with a degree that had nothing to do with television, but I was able to dip my foot in the water that summer. And then through the friends that I made, I got offered a freelance PA position.
Oh, wow.
And that's how it happened. All goes back to MTV.
Me too.
I always loved TV. I always loved film. I always loved music. I always loved pop culture. So it was, all the elements of MTV I was into. And I just got really, really lucky. If it wasn't for being introduced to it through that summer, I really don't know what I would be doing now, to be honest with you.
I mean, the exposure, too. I mean, I wish, like I said, I got into this late in the game, when I was in my early 30s. So, I answered phones at the front desk at MTV Networks for a summer. And that's how I got my foot in the door and figured it out. But I really wish that I had that exposure as a kid, more, because, they had these radio telephone classes or radio. They were stupid. It didn't give you a taste of what we do. And I really wish I had that exposure. But the exposure that I did have in the military was after I was in the Honor Guard, I went basically across the street to the office that coordinated all the Joint Service Honor Guard ceremonies. And ceremonies like state arrivals, state funerals, inaugurations. And so the Clinton inauguration was in 94, and we just happened to be on that committee. So I got a taste of production at a very grand scale. And so it's kind of cool that I went back to that in that, kind of the organization, that side of it, the production side of it, which I gravitate towards and really like to do. So it's kind of
cool. And look, it's different. Like I feel bad for students that are getting into it now, because at that time, MTV was not hiring people that studied TV or film in college.
Right.
So they were saying no to a lot of NYU film school grads because they kind of felt like they wanted people that were going to come on the job and could be trained the way they wanted the job done, as opposed to some student that was like, I know everything. So I think they liked the fact that I was enthusiastic and passionate about the opportunity, but I wasn't versed in it. Like I was kind of brand new. So they were able to train me to do the job the way they wanted it done versus I know everything.
Yeah. Shape and mold you. I know. I mean, I've come across people like that, where you're like, just quiet down, open your eyes and listen and watch and see how things are done, because you don't always know, the best way to do things just because you went to film school. But,
yeah, absolutely. And I wound up I was on staff 16 years at MTV.
Wow.
Yeah. So
that was a good chunk of time, especially there.
Yeah, it was good. I survived a ton of really awful layoffs and stuff. And then eventually one day you're like, I don't really know the audience anymore. We started greenlighting projects that I said, this is stupid. Like, who's going to watch this? And then I realized I'm the problem. Like, it's time for me to go.
Yeah.
And I wound up going to the History Channel because at the time they were making programming for men aged 25 to 54. So I had a lot of success when I was at MTV because I was that demo, making content for that demo. And then when it was time to go, I went to a place where I was the demo again. And when you're the target demo as a developer, the job's easy because you don't have to think about, well, what's the audience going to think? You are the audience.
Yeah.
So choosing projects and backing projects was really simple. If it was something I wanted to watch, I'd try to buy it.
We talked about this. What shows were you there at History Channel that I worked on?
So when I was at History, I worked on American Pickers. I worked on American Restoration. Then I created a show called Forged in Fire that I worked on for like 3 or 4 seasons. A show called Hunting Hitler I developed.
Oh, that's what it was. That's what it was. Yep. Okay.
We did that with Carga 7 Pictures. So
I think I told you we went down to Turks and Caicos looking for a boat, and then that was during the pandemic.
I think you did season 3. So I did the first 2 seasons. I spent 5 years at History, and then, my deal was coming up, and this was 7 years ago, at least, almost 8 years ago. And the writing was on the wall. I like being at a network. I like being a buyer, but the industry was changing, and I looked at my business partner now, Matt Ginsberg. We were both at History together, and we were like, this model's going to change, and we got to get out on the other side. We got to start making things, because when the networks go away, they're not going to need guys like us anymore. They're going to need people that make stuff. Mm-hmm. So we decided to leave History Channel and start our company, Rail Splitter Pictures, really in an attempt to get on the selling side as opposed to the buying side, which is always kind of tricky because a lot of buyers try to be sellers and they don't have a lot of success. And then also, I think a lot of sellers want ex-buyers to fail because they said no to one of their projects at some point.
Yeah.
So and look, being a buyer, I think I was the easiest job I ever had. I loved it. It was super easy. It was stressful, like any job.
Yeah.
But it's a lot harder on the seller side. But we made the jump over, and it's been a great 8 years.
Can you just rattle off a few of your successful shows, which I know about, which we can share?
Yeah, we do a lot of programming for Vice. So they did a series called Dark Side of the Ring, which is about professional wrestling. It rated really well. And during the pandemic, they reached out to us and said, we want to expand our Dark Side franchise. So can you guys pitch us ideas on other series concepts that could be the dark side of? And my business partner was like, we should just do the decades.
Yeah.
Like we can just tell stories from start with the 90s. So we do Dark Side of the 90s, Dark Side of the 2000s for Vice. We also do Dark Side of Reality for Vice, which is about reality shows.
Yeah.
And then we just finished season 1 of Dark Side of the Cage, which is about mixed martial artists, professional fighters.
Oh, man.
So we do that. And we did a series called Greatest of All Time for Masterclass, which was a lot of fun. Masterclass decided that they wanted to get into what they were considered shorter form programming, because a lot of their programming is someone sitting in a chair for 6 hours teaching you something. And we did 8 episodes for them that are about 30 minutes each. And every episode profiles someone who's known for being top of the class at something, like a coffee barista or a pizza maker. And we tell their personal story about how they got obsessed with what they do. And then they show you how to make something at home.
That's really cool.
And that was a lot of fun because we do a lot of stuff in the UFO, monster, and it was an opportunity to do like cooking, which is really cool.
It's probably refreshing too. I mean, feel good, content.
I mean, look, one thing that we were very cognizant of from the beginning with the company is we didn't want to be known for doing one type of genre really well, because I saw that a lot as a buyer. So a genre would heat up, say it's true crime or cooking or whatever, and production company is really good at it. And they produce 4, 5, 6 shows, and everyone knows like they're the guys to go to for that show. And then that genre cools a little bit, or even if it doesn't cool, they suddenly come in with a show that has nothing to do with what they're known for, and then the conversation at the network becomes, we can't hire them to do this show. They're the true crime guys.
Yeah,
they're not going to do a competition, studio-based competition show. So we've always jumped at the opportunity to do something in a different space because we never want to be pigeonholed as like the Bigfoot guys.
Right. No, that's smart. So I mean, I still want to circle back to Beyond Skinwalker Ranch. Yeah. But with that said, I was going to ask you what your take on the industry is, the direction you think is going to go, and the direction you think you guys are going to take with, broadcast TV. Is streaming or YouTube the answer?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. Like I'm sure everyone tells you this. It's hard right now. It's super hard. It's just very stagnant. They're not buying a lot. They're buying way less. It seems like there's more of an appetite to renew franchise shows that they know work and already have a built-in audience, and renew those shows and maybe reduce the budget as opposed to buying something brand new. So it's tough because at times you feel like, why are we spending the time and money to develop this project, to take it out to market where nobody's buying anything? But you can't stop. You have to continue to pitch. I think one of the things is contributing to it is streaming, and a lot of networks having their own ability to stream. So, for example, Discovery, they have Max. Everybody's licensing content from each other. So when I was at History Channel, we were in a feud with Discovery.
Yeah.
So if there was a project that could work for both us and Discovery, I mean, we would go hard at that project. And, we had to have the project. And it was great for those buyers because it was bidding wars. And, we could not let our competitor have that show. We need the show. If they get that show, we're screwed. Nowadays, it's like, all right, well, let History make it, and then we'll just license it on a second window and put it on Max. So everyone's kind of sharing content. Nothing's siloed anymore. Nothing's really like, you look at a show like Alone. It's a huge hit on Netflix, but that's a history show. But nobody really knows it's a History Channel show because everyone watches it on Netflix.
Yeah.
So everyone's kind of sharing this content, so they don't have the urgency to plant the flag on a show and make it theirs. So look, cable TV it's definitely deteriorating, and it's dying on the vine. Everyone loves the idea of having a show on a streamer, but it's a tricky business with them because when you're talking about Netflix, for example, the type of show that we do mostly, I don't think is really appealing to them to buy because they're subscription based. They already have, how many million, hundreds of million subscribers internationally. Their whole thing is how do we appeal to someone who isn't a subscriber to pull out their wallet and plunk down the credit card and subscribe. They're not going to do that with shows like Bigfoot or Skinwalker. I think people that have subscribed to there will watch those shows, but it's not going to cause someone to subscribe. They're going to subscribe for Jake Paul fighting Mike Tyson. They're going to subscribe for the Tom Brady roast. So, and the streamers aren't as quick to renew because they want new, buzzy, loud programming that's going to, cause someone to subscribe. So for me, I want a second season, a third season, a fourth season. The streamers are going to be a lot quicker to renew. And if they do renew, a lot of people talk about gigantic gaps between the seasons. They'll sit around for a year or more waiting to be renewed. So, I mean, to be honest with you, I think it's all going streaming. And look, YouTube's killing everybody. So, absolutely, that's where it's at. But for me and for our business, we're really small. We're small by design. When we started our company, it was before COVID. We saw too many companies try to be too big too quick and get choked out by the overhead. So we were like very little overhead, small office.
So smart.
No employees. We hire employees when we sell shows. So everyone's project based, but we don't carry anyone on payroll. And it's really our model has allowed us to survive COVID, and it allowed us to survive this downturn right now. A lot of mid-sized companies, they're really feeling the pinch because they got rent, they got overhead, they got employees, they got payroll. They've had to lay people off where, Matt and I, what we do is we kind of just curl up into a ball and it's just the two of us.
Smart. I mean, that's a good business model because like you said, you don't have all that overhead. You know, it's a waste. I mean, to have space, like all these companies that have these spaces for productions to come in, even with COVID, even before, it's been proven where, I like to say that I'm an adult. Whenever I'm hiring for a job, like you can trust me to work wherever I'm going to get the job done. You don't have to be supervised in an office.
Look, man, I found, and we were always remote from the beginning. So I find that especially post-production editors are way more efficient from home. Yeah. Because, most editors, and almost all good editors, they love what they're working on. So they want to have the ability to walk their dog and do whatever they need to do. They know their deadline. But I find that a lot of the editors from working from home, they actually work a little bit longer on a project. Totally. Because, they eat dinner and they go, you know what, I got to get that scene right. It's not right. So we've had nothing but really great experiences with remote work. It's a little dicey sometimes where sometimes people will double dip. And most of the time I don't have a problem with someone double dipping if they can handle the workload. But we've had a couple of instances where we had some issues with some freelance employees and then we did some digging and we found out they're working on 3 things and they just couldn't handle it. You know what I mean?
Don't do that. I mean, it's one thing, even if you can handle it, it's just like, I don't know. Yeah. But I mean, I do think that myself personally, I give myself more to a company when I'm working from home than I do when I'm in the office. Just what you said. I get up in the morning, get my cappuccino and I'm checking my email. Or, I might start working on something right away or at night. So, I don't know. There's something to be said about that.
I mean, we run a lot of shows out of LA and I would go out to LA and, when we first started the company, we had a production services deal with a bigger production company. So we used their overhead. I didn't pay for the office space, but we had kind of a traditional model for the first, 2 years before, we went fully independent. And I remember driving from the hotel to the production office, and I'm like, oh, this sucks for these people in LA. Like, this is insane. By the time you get to the office, it's like I burned over an hour in the car, sitting in bumper to bumper traffic. Like, nobody wants to do that. So to your point, you want to roll out of bed, have a cappuccino, take your dog for a walk, and start your day. And we're all adults, and our attitude at RailSplitter has always been like, your deadline's your deadline. As long as you hit your deadline, I don't care what you do. If you tell me I'm not working today, I'm going to start working at 8 o'clock at night, and I'm going to work till 8 o'clock in the morning, I don't care. It's all good.
Right, as long as you get your shit done.
Just hit your deadline, and do good work.
That's exactly, do good work, not just hit a deadline and be half-assed. Like, it goes back to like what I was talking about. Any task that I take on, I always try to do it to my best ability,
Yeah.
do my best job. It could be the smallest thing or the largest task. I'm always
Yeah.
going to try to do it to my best ability, not do it half-assed.
We've been really fortunate, and you said something really nice about our show, about the project you worked on with us and the crew. And we've been really, really fortunate where we have on that series, we had 90% of the people on season 5 were on season 1. Because we try to be really good to our employees and make it a great experience. We want everyone to have a good time making our shows. I mean, obviously, it's stressful making a show, and you have ups and downs, but we want to create and foster a positive experience because I want everyone coming back.
Right.
We put a lot of pride in the way that we staff. We're very diligent, and the way that we staff, we don't just kind of hire anybody. We check references, and there's people whose opinions we really respect, and we build these teams, and then I want these people around. And we have a really nice stable of freelance project-based employees that have been with us for the last 7.5 years. It's been great.
I can't speak enough about how great they were and about how Ronnie was, your showrunner.
Yeah.
Amazing guy. But I saw how you talked with Ronnie and how you dealt with him and how you were there to support him whenever he needed it. And it was 100% support all the time. So it's really refreshing to see that from again, top down.
Yeah. I stood in Ronnie's shoes. I know how hard it is to make a show. I completely understand. Look, Matt and I, we've been around, my partner and I, we've been around for a while. We're not new at this. And when we formed the company, we said to each other, we got to have a no asshole rule on the show.
Yeah. Yes.
It doesn't matter how talented you are. If you're an asshole or you're not good to work with or you're a problem, we don't want you on the show because it's hard making a show.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to sell a show. It's even harder to make a show that gets renewed. And we want everyone, it's a job and it's stressful, but we want everyone on our show to be good people. And, it's a lot more of a pleasant experience when you're shooting all night in the rain, in the middle of nowhere, in the freezing cold, and you like the people that you're working with.
Totally. 100%. I mean, it was, it was great. I mean, the energy that we had on that crew was amazing. So then there were days that were harder than others, and we just got through it together. And it was a lot of fun. So I enjoyed
you don't mind. You don't mind, if everyone's cool. So
embracing the suck. All right. Yeah. So now I want to know a little bit about Beyond Skinwalker Ranch. I asked that because, I'm a novice when it comes to all this UAP and drones, and I have an open mind, and I like to have an open mind. And the more you see and the more you hear, the more you're like, what the fuck is happening? So is there anything you can tell me from Beyond Skinwalker Ranch, or Skinwalker Ranch, or any of that fucking weird shit?
It's weird. It's very, very strange. So Skinwalker Ranch is weird. It's a very strange place. As soon as you get there, they give you a safety briefing because a pretty high percentage of visitors to the ranch have kind of a neurological reaction. They'll get dizziness, nausea. Sometimes people will step out to use the bathroom and they'll lose time. They'll come back 15 minutes later and they think they were gone, for a couple seconds. And actually, you're supposed to, if you begin to feel weird, you're supposed to let them know, the scientists know, because they will immediately take you to a part of the ranch that's insulated, kind of like with metal. So they'll bring you into this room and they'll actually track all of your symptoms. They'll write down what time and they'll ask you how you're feeling. And it's a very, I had a very eerie, unsettling feeling the whole time I was at the ranch.
Really?
Yeah. It was almost uncomfortable when we would take breaks in production and I would go outside and I would just kind of walk around a little bit. I just had this kind of just an unsettling feeling. It's hard to explain. I just didn't feel comfortable there. And some people are so, they believe so strongly that Skinwalker Ranch has got something strange happening there that they'll wear plastic bags over their shoes.
Really?
Because they don't want to track any of that dirt back home because there's this phenomenon known as hitchhikers, where you go to a place that's experiencing weird activity, it can attach itself to you and you bring it home. Huh. So, I mean, it's just like, I'm neurotic enough. So when I'm out there, like visiting, I'm like, what's going on? But we've had really strange things happen. We've had really strange radiation spikes. We've picked up on, strange frequencies that, we shouldn't be picking up on. We've seen weird things in the sky. We've seen temperature fluctuations. We're shooting and we have thermal cameras set up, and we're monitoring the temperature. And we were at Navajo Nation, and we had some Navajo medicine men doing a ceremony, and we're monitoring the temperature above them, directly above them, as they're doing this drum and kind of a burning sage, and the temperature is just dropping. It drops 7 degrees above them. And then when they stop the drumming and they stop the singing and the chanting, temperature goes back up 7 degrees.
That's crazy. See,
seen a lot of really strange things.
I love you said Navajo Nation because we filmed the episode of Top Gear there. And when we were scouting, our Navajo guide was this guy named Fred. He dealt with all the press that went out there to shoot anything. And so he took us to a place where you only go if you're Navajo. And it was weird, like opening. It looked like they were symmetrical, like bricks placed around like a landing pad almost. Really fucking weird. And then the rock that surrounded this area was all this slick rock that went up, Yeah. And there's some, are they petroglyphs, the hieroglyphs? The writings on petroglyphs?
Yeah.
A little spacing. And you're looking at this and you're just like, this is weird. And the energy, I kid you not, it was a weird energy. And Fred goes, go ahead. And he told us to go up, and the three of us went running up this slick rock. Just like kids. And it was the weirdest energy I've felt. It was so fucking cool.
The petroglyphs are crazy because they believe that they're people, they came from like a hole in the sky. So they believe they came from a different place. And the Navajo really, they refer to it as the phenomenon, which is everything from UAPs to cryptids to, what they call skinwalkers. They believe that it's like getting them to acknowledge weird phenomenon is like getting you to acknowledge the sky is blue. It's just like, this is how it is.
Yeah.
And that this is how it is here. And if you look at their folklore going back, it's always been there. We actually have a project now that we're out to market with, where we did 2 episodes at Navajo Nation, but we actually have a new project we're calling Paranormal Nation, where actually we have a deal with Navajo Nation to go with one of the original Navajo Rangers, who was kind of like a Navajo X-Files guy. Like he investigated all of the strange going-ons there, and one of the medicine men. And every episode will take place at the nation at a different place that's known for weird activity. And we're going to fuse ancient Navajo folklore and ritual with tech.
Oh, that's so cool. I'll totally watch that. I mean, I believe in that. Another thing he mentioned were the tall people, the giants, that he was talking like it's so matter of fact, like he looked out and the giant was running next to him in this dry riverbed as he's driving down the road.
No, it's a real thing. One of the guys that we deal with, like years ago, someone reported like a Bigfoot sighting at Navajo Nation, and no one went to interview the woman. And it got back to the top guy, the top Navajo Ranger. They have their own police force. And he called these 2 guys into his office. He said, from now on, you 2 are going to investigate all of these weird calls that we get about UAPs and cryptids. So they really became like the Navajo Mulder and Scully. And for 10 years, these guys ran around, and that's all they did. So it's pretty wild. It's a really wild place. But Beyond Skinwalker Ranch has been a lot of fun to work with. We also shot with a guy. You know who Chris Bledsoe is?
Sounds familiar. Yes, I do. Yes.
So Chris Bledsoe claims that he had an interaction with, a spacecraft years ago, and he claims that he can summon orbs, that he can kind of go out into his backyard and he can kind of cast out his intentions, and then he'll tell you before they even show up. He'll be like, "Watch this guy right there," and all of a sudden. So we shot with him a couple of episodes, and the things that we saw with Chris Bledsoe, it can't be explained. They're not satellites. We don't know what they are. And we actually hooked him up. We had a world-renowned neurologist and a neuroscientist, and they they monitored his brain waves, and then after the shoot, they took like 2 weeks to analyze the results, and they came back and they said, what he's doing, he goes into this flow state immediately, where he goes into like this deep meditative state. And I've only seen this with like the most experienced like Buddhist monks that go into this like, and Chris has the ability to do it with like a snap of a finger. Yeah. And then it's pretty wild. Like we took him to an institute where the CIA was experimenting with remote viewing. Uh-huh. And we put him in a inside the facility downstairs. They have a copper lined room, and he laid in a bed hooked up with we were monitoring his brainwaves, and he's laying in this copper lined room, and we have our camera crew outside, and he's inside this copper lined room where there's nothing can get in. It's shielded, and he's literally casting out his intentions and saying, "Look now," and our guys upstairs outside are looking up, and there's orbs appearing.
Holy crap!
Yeah.
See,
really freaked everybody out.
And I love that you're telling me this because you're so credible.
Yeah.
And because you see so much on the various social media channels, and you don't know what really is real.
No,
and
this is 100%. This is 100% legit. And then we took him to Skinwalker Ranch, and we brought him to Skinwalker Ranch, and some really strange things happened. It aired. So we brought him to Skinwalker Ranch, and he was doing his thing, and he was pointing out things in the sky, and the scientists were trying to figure out if they were satellites or what the hell they were. And they were monitoring the radiation, and all of a sudden, we got this horrible sulfur smell, like this overwhelming smell of sulfur, and the radiation like pinned into the red, where we had to literally call the chute and evacuate into that metal kind of lined room that I was telling you about.
What?
And the scientists at Skinwalker Ranch said that they believe that the ranch was reacting to Chris. Like the ranch was literally having like a physical reaction to Chris's presence.
Holy crap. And so
really weird, man.
Man, that's good to know. Holy
really weird.
Shit, Bob. Well, thank you for really that weird little tidbit, Tim. I appreciate that. I mean, all right. So I just have a couple of fun questions before I let you go. So if you had to create your own reality TV show based on your daily life, what would it be called? And what's the most dramatic storyline from this past week?
Oh, my God. If I had to create a reality show based on my daily routine, I think I picked up jiu-jitsu like 10 years ago. I'm old. I'm 53 years old. And all the guys I train with are like in their 20s. And it's not pretty. So I think if there was a camera that could follow me into the academy and just watch for an hour as I got my ass handed to me by like kids that wear Crocs with superhuman pins stuck in them, and they talk about Fortnite in the locker room, and then they go out and they beat the graybeard to death. So that might be worth seeing. You can call it like swimming with sharks or something.
Hey, man, good, you know what? That's awesome. Good on you for doing that, because I was a wrestler back in the day. I loved wrestling. Yeah. I didn't pull a muscle when I bent over. I played a lot of soccer, like competitive soccer, and I could still go out and play ball. But the wrestling thing or judo, I don't know. I'd probably hurt myself. I'd love to have kept that up because it's
fun. It's a lot of fun, and it's really, really hard. And look, man, like I'm a middle-aged dude. There's only so much I can do, but it is cool every now and then when like one of the young guys would be like, you're the same age as my dad, and he's fat and sits on the couch. It's like, okay, cool.
You're like, that's right. That's not me.
I'll take it.
I'll take it. I'm still doing my thing.
I'll take it.
All right, one more question before I let you go. If your personality had to be represented by a combination of 3 different foods, what would they be and why?
My personality. Wow.
3 different foods.
3 different foods. Something super spicy because, I kind of, I think my personality can kind of ramp that way sometimes. So I think something super, super spicy. So probably like some crazy ass Indian food. Like when you look at the waiter and you're like, I want it spicy. to the point where you're eating your Vindaloo when you sweat through your clothes. I think that's one. Not necessarily a food, but I think a good cup of coffee.
Bless you.
Because I'm fueled by caffeine, and I think just the nature of what we do for a living. Yeah, you have to keep going.
Yeah.
And we kind of work weird hours. So I think spicy Indian food. I think coffee. Ooh, what a horrible combination, by the way. And then it's got to be food, huh?
Or a drink.
And I think a perfectly poured Guinness stout, because I enjoy a good glass of Guinness every now and then, and I think it's the opposite side of my spicy side of my personality, where I like to kind of sit with some friends and have a drink and unwind after a long day.
Not a lot of Indian food in Ireland. Now, kind sir, do you have your certificate from the brewery?
I don't. I've never visited. I was in Ireland. I was in Ireland about 2 years ago, and I was nowhere near the brewery. I was in Dingle, so I was in the southwest.
Yeah.
In the peninsula. So I was only there for a week, but I will be back.
So yes, you have to go there. Guinness is great there, and last time I was there, I was filming something for Accenture, and some of the locals would go out to a Temple Bar. And and different bars we go to, they wouldn't drink Guinness. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, no, we don't drink Guinness from here. There's only like 5 places in Dublin proper where they'll drink a pint of Guinness. And I'm like, that's horse shit. And so they took me to 3 of the places, and man, those 3 places, the Guinness, so good.
It's different there.
Yeah.
It's different there. I mean, I enjoy Guinness here, but I don't know if it's just the experience of being there, but I think it's just fresher, and it just, and they know how to pour them there.
Yeah. They take your time, and it's patience. Patience is the virtue. I don't mind. Or be in a proper pint glass, an imperial pint glass, not a 12-ounce glass.
Yeah.
Give me my 16, and then I'll be happy. So that's my Guinness rant. But that's awesome. All right. I like that.
Yeah, man.
One more thing. What's next for you? What's next for Rail Splitter?
So we're like in a heavy development phase right now. So we're waiting to hear, obviously, about Skinwalker Ranch has to hit the air in June, and they'll decide if they want to continue and order more. Bigfoot just ended season 5, so we have to hear about season 6. But in the meantime, we're cutting tapes and writing decks and pitching like crazy. That's awesome. We're really kind of reloading on the slate. So got a lot of cool projects, trying to get into the crime space, but, we're trying to do more male skewing crime and try to get away from the glut of crime that's happening. We have something really interesting in the 9/11 space that we think could make a lot of sense for the 25th anniversary. We're talking to a network about a feature sports doc right now. So we got a lot of irons in the fire, but it's just trying to move it along.
Well, keep moving, one step in front of the other. That's the infantry way. Just keep on moving. Well,
Absolutely.
hey, I just want to remind everyone to come on, check out my website at gofordonny.com, where I have that swag that I talked about on Go for Donny. We have hats. We have stickers, we have everything. And also to check this out, this is not only an audio podcast, it's a video podcast, which is on my YouTube channel at Go for Donny, where you can find the different playlists. This one's under Switch to Channel 2. So speaking of which, I think they're calling, and we got to get back to Channel 1. So Tim, man, it's such a pleasure chatting with you and hearing more about you and hearing everything about Skinwalker Ranch. And, man, I can't wait to work with you sometime in the future.
Looking forward to it, Donnie. It's great seeing you, and thanks for having me.
You too, man. Thanks, dude.
All right. Be
Later,
good.
Man.
See you, man.
Production for Donnie.
Go for Donnie. Locations for Donnie. Go for Donnie.
Habitat for Donnie.
Go for Donnie.
Hey, Donnie, what the hell are they doing?